4933. Mullinax Electric. For all your electrical needs. Do you need a little help promoting your business? With over 100 years experience printing your community news, the Sequoyah County Times is now offering high-caliber products that will fulfill your marketing needs. We will promote your business with thousands of great products through our Cookson Hills Marketing Division. We offer apparel, bags, banners, calendars, mugs, pens, sticky notes, tech gear, trade show swag. We can print your flyers, your postcards, pamphlets, and so much more. Visit chm.cookson.news or call us at 918-775-4433. Remember to promote with the pros.
Salisol Lumber now offers a complete line of Guardian fiberglass insulation to lower your home or business's electric bill. Whether you want it blown in or batted, Salisol Lumber will professionally install Guardian fiberglass insulation for you. Remember, good results begin with a solid foundation, and that requires the right materials for the job. That's why the pros and do-it-yourselfers trust Salisol Lumber for selection and service.
The earth is our home. It's where we live. It's where our children play. And it's our responsibility to take care of it for future generations. Sue's Recycling and Sanitation is here to help keep our land beautiful. We provide residential and commercial trash service for Sequoyah County. We also offer industrial waste services. Call 918-773-4007 to sign up today.
When it comes to electrical jobs, leave it to the professionals. Mullinax Electric can handle your commercial, industrial, remodeling, and control needs. Give them a call at 479-651-4933. Mullinax Electric. For all your electrical needs. Do you need a little help promoting your business? With over 100 years experience printing your community news, the Sequoyah County Times is now offering high-caliber products that will fulfill your marketing needs. We will promote your business with thousands of great products through our Cookson Hills Marketing Division. We offer apparel, bags, banners, calendars, mugs, pens, sticky notes, tech gear, trade show swag. We can print your flyers, your postcards, pamphlets, and so much more. Visit chm.cookson.news or call us at 918-775-4433. Remember to promote with the pros.
Salisol Lumber now offers a complete line of Guardian fiberglass insulation to lower your home or business's electric bill. Whether you want it blown in or batted, Salisol Lumber will professionally install Guardian fiberglass insulation for you. Remember, good results begin with a solid foundation, and that requires the right materials for the job. That's why the pros and do-it-yourselfers trust Salisol Lumber for selection and service.
The earth is our home. It's where we live. It's where our children play. And it's our responsibility to future generations. Sue's Recycling and Sanitation is here to help keep our land beautiful. We provide residential and commercial trash service for Sequoyah County. We also offer industrial waste services. Call 918-773-4007 to sign up today.
When it comes to electrical jobs, leave it to the professionals. Mullinax Electric can handle your commercial, industrial, remodeling, and control needs. Give them a call at 479-651-4933. Mullinax Electric. For all your electrical needs. Do you need a little help promoting your business? With over 100 years experience printing your community news, the Sequoyah County Times is now offering high-caliber products that will fulfill your marketing needs. We will promote your business with thousands of great products through our Cookson Hills Marketing Division. We offer apparel, bags, banners, calendars, mugs, pens, sticky notes, tech gear, trade show swag. We can print your flyers, your postcards, pamphlets, and so much more. Visit chm.cookson.news or call us at 918-775-4433. Remember to promote with the pros.
Salisol Lumber now offers a complete line of Guardian fiberglass insulation to lower your home or business's electric bill. Whether you want it blown in or batted, Salisol Lumber will professionally install Guardian fiberglass insulation for you. Remember, good results begin with a solid foundation, and that requires the right materials for the job. That's why the pros and do-it-yourselfers trust Salisol Lumber for selection and service.
Brought to you by KXMX The Mix and Your Times. This forum is being streamed and televised live, so if you're in the audience here, and we've got about 20 people, please silence your cell phones. We want to say thank you to People Inc. It's very nice to have them allow us to hold this event in such a great facility here at the Conference Center. And we are abiding by People Inc.'s policy tonight that allows each candidate to only have 2 guests. I know it's cut down the size of our audience, but the forum is streamed and televised, and we believe there will be wide viewership. Thank you to the audience for being here and participating in our community government. As a reminder, this is the second of 2 forums. If you missed last week's forum featuring candidates for State Representative District 15 and Sequoyah County Commissioner District 2, please go to the Mix or the Sequoyah County Times Facebook and YouTube pages where you can watch those shows. Our moderator tonight is Marley Abel, Senior Vice President of First Financial Center in Salisaw. Marley has moderated several of our forums, and we appreciate his service to the community. I'll be keeping time and warning the candidates when it's time to stop talking. The format tonight is that each candidate will have 3 minutes to give an introduction. Then Mr. Abel will start with questions, and the candidates will have 2 minutes to answer each question. We'll go about 30 to 40 minutes, and then each candidate will have 3 minutes for a closing statement. We're going to start tonight with candidates for Sequoyah County Court Clerk, incumbent Vicki Beatty, and challengers Gina Cox and Shiloh Edwards. We've drawn names for the order to start, and Ms. Beatty will go first, then Ms. Cox and Mr. Edwards. I'll now turn it over to Marley, and I'll be back a little later. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. We'll go ahead and get started with our opening statements. And as Jeff said, we'll start with Ms. Beatty, and then Ms. Cox, and then Mr. Edwards. Ms. Beatty, you have the floor for the 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Vicki Beatty. My husband is Wally Beatty. We have 2 daughters, Tasha Beatty, Nikki Earnhardt, 3 grandchildren, Kinley, Cash, and Cord. I have been your district court clerk since 2009. After I was elected, I attended classes to retain my certification. These classes are only offered to newly elected court clerks, and they are administered by the administration of the office, the administrative office of the courts. Since I have been your court clerk, we have made the civil and criminal records more accessible to the public. All cases that are public records can be viewed on ODCR and OSCN. Unless it has personal information such as social security numbers or date of birth, then those documents are not available for viewing. We take payments with credit cards over the phone. You can make your payment online, or you can come into the office in person, and we accept cash, check, or money orders. We work with the Department of Public Safety and the Oklahoma Highway Patrols to obtain our tickets electronically. The court clerk's office works closely with the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney, and the judges on a daily basis. I do a yearly budget for the maintenance and operations of the court clerk and the judge's office. I manage the jury terms for the court. We have implemented a new system that allows me to text and email jurors when they need to be there. This takes less time out of their schedule so they don't have to report every day for 2 weeks of our term. My office is required to do monthly reports, which we collect and pay out for about 42 different entities each month. I'm also required to do quarterly and fiscal year reports. These reports are all balanced with the county clerk and the treasurer's office each month, and we are audited each year. I have 4 to 5 employees that are qualified and certified to do passports. Each employee has to take a test and be recertified each year. We usually do 200 to 250 passports a year, and we're responsible for preparing the records for appeals to the Supreme Court. I partnered with a group called Family Research, which offered free services for scanning marriage records from 1907 to current, and probate records from 1907 to 1940. These can be viewed on Family Research. I have a team of 9 qualified employees that work with me to ensure the office is there to meet the needs of the public. We are public service employees for the citizens of Sequoyah County.
Thank you very much, Ms. Beatty. We'll now move to Ms. Gina Cox. And you'll have 3 minutes for your opening.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Gina Cox. I've lived in Sallisaw for about 27 years. I have been married 26 years to Greg Cox. We have 4 daughters, 3 son-in-laws, and 6 grandchildren. I've worked 5 years at the Sheriff's Office as an office administrator. Then I moved on to the town of Roland. For the last 10 years, that's where I've been. I started out as a communication officer, then moved up to being dispatch supervisor. For the last 4 years, I've been transferred over to the court clerk's office. I've attended several classes and worked hard to gain certifications and to operate the office properly and efficiently.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Edwards will be next, and you'll have 3 minutes for your opening.
It won't take that long. Hello, I'm Shiloh Edwards. I've been born and raised in Sallisaw, Oklahoma. Have four children, 8 grandchildren. Just got a new one. I've worked in law enforcement for approximately 36 years in this general area. And as you well know, I was the chief here for almost 9 years, and I've worked in smaller departments since that time. I've been to Afghanistan, where I worked as a private security contractor. Prior to that, I've worked for the Arkansas Highway Police, Van Buren Police Department, and also worked for the United Nations International Police for a year. We're in Kosovo. Attend training all the time. I think training is very important. I think training is the key to the future. You learn new ways and new incentives. I think that I would like to see a lot of changes and make things easier and better for the people to come visit the office. Normally when you have to probably go to the court clerk's office, it may not be a pleasant visit. And so if we can streamline things, make things simpler and everything, and just mainly be courteous to the people and respectful, and don't forget your public servants. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to the questions now. It was pretty difficult to come up with questions for the court clerk's office. I actually ended up starting with the Oklahoma State's handbook that told me what a court clerk did. And I've had several questions about that, so I'm actually going to read what they say the court clerk position is. The court clerk's primary responsibilities are to record, file, and maintain district court proceedings and maintain books useful for locating past court proceedings. The court clerk keeps summaries of court actions in an appearance docket, maintains case files, collects fines, fees, and forfeitures, and distributes or expends collected money as provided by law. The court clerk also issues legal warrants, court orders as given by a judge, passports, marriage license as authorized by a judge, beer, pool hall, and other county licenses. That was the description that was in the State of Oklahoma handbook. Didn't necessarily help me out a whole lot, but we're going to tackle this the best we can, and Ms. Cox, you'll be the first question tonight. And we'll start with pretty simple. Why did you decide to run as the Sequoyah County Court Clerk?
As I said before, I've been an office administrator before, then moving to the court clerk position at the town of Roland. I've liked all of my jobs, but I've enjoyed being court clerk most of all. I feel like my previous jobs have prepared me to better serve you as the next Sequoyah County Court Clerk.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on. Mr. Edwards will be next. And same question, why did you decide to run for Sequoyah County Court Clerk?
I chose to run for this. I've been, like I said, in law enforcement for approximately 36 years. I've been in administration for about the last 15 that I think would help prepare me for the job. It's something that I've talked about for several years. And, you know, my mom being a retired court clerk, and so I've always had interest in it. And I just decided it is time to do it. So I put my name in the pot, and here I am. Hopefully, you know, I'll get that opportunity to serve the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Beatty, why did you decide to run for re-election as Sequoyah County Clerk?
Well, I ran for re-election because I like my job. I like serving the public and the citizens of Sequoyah County. I want to continue that. And the reason I ran for court clerk in the beginning was I had worked 13 years as a deputy court clerk in that office prior to running. So I feel like that gave me the knowledge, and I liked what I'd done as a deputy clerk, and I wanted to be in the administrative part of the court clerk's office.
All right, thank you. The second question will start with Mr. Edwards. What life and professional experiences, including the management of people, do you feel qualifies you for this position?
Well, as I said, I feel like that being in administration and law enforcement and through my college courses and things and paralegal and criminal justice system and working with the court systems over the years, you know, as an officer, you're in and out and dealing with it quite often. You see areas that could probably improve and things, and I feel like that, you know, approximately 36 years in law enforcement, and like I said, 15 years being in administration has prepared me for this and managing and dealing with people and customers and everything else. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next we'll have Ms. Beatty. What life and professional experiences, including management of people, qualifies you for this position?
As I proved years as a deputy clerk, and between the times that I was not at the court clerk's office, I owned my own business for 13 years, so it gave me a business sense of budgeting and working with people. After being my own boss and in leadership, I felt that gave, along with the experience as the deputy court clerk, that gave me the experience to run for the office.
Thank you. And Ms. Cox, what life and professional experience?
At the sheriff's office and also at Roland, and for the last 4 years being the court clerk there. I feel like that I can bring stuff to the office. I feel like I could boost the morale in the office. I also think that cross-training is a big thing. I think that all employees should be cross-trained so where the office can work more efficiently and in a more timely manner. With being an active court clerk, I believe also that you should work side by side with each clerk on a daily basis. That's about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's see, third question, we're going to start with Ms. Beatty. And it is, since you were elected initially back in 2008, I believe, what changes have you made in the court clerk's office, and what changes, if any, would you make going forward if reelected?
The changes that I've made is not necessarily changes I've made. It's things that are mandated by the state. Just me changing things it's not really my decision, other than personal things that makes the office run smoother. We've implemented a new jury system. We no longer do beer license. That was in the handbook. We no longer issue those kinds of license. That was a shortfall in revenue for the county, so we do miss that, but that was on the ballot. That was voted out. We do scan all documents into the computers now, so that when it is time that we can destroy records after the time limit and frame that they have been, that's mandated for those, we are having a backup and then the one hard copy on site, and then a hard copy on off-site. So we will be ready for destroying records when the time is allowed. And so the other changes are just as we go along and the state mandates those changes. We implement all of those when they're, enforced on us.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next up, Ms. Cox will be second to answer this question. If you win the election for court clerk, what are 2 items that you plan to focus on that you believe need to be improved?
Again, I still believe in the cross-training. From what I've understood, there's a long line quite a few times when you go into the court clerk's office. And I feel like that if all employees were cross-trained, they can work together. And if they need help on the opposite side, instead of just being there at their desk, they can get up and help the other ladies. I also will get up to help if anyone needs help at the office. Sorry, I just went blank. I'm not used to this, not a politician. Again, I'm not afraid to work. I'm not afraid to work at all, and I enjoy getting up, speaking with people, and just helping people in general with whatever they need.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Edwards, if you win the election for court clerk, what are 2 items that you plan to focus on that you believe needs improvement?
Well, one of the first things would be customer satisfaction. Having the employees treat the people coming in, in a courteous manner. To me, that's very, very important for any job. I would like to see, kind of like they've touched, where you have people that's Johnny on the spot when somebody comes up, and they're not just sitting there twiddling their thumbs and, get out of the office and go make sure everybody's doing their job and be there to oversee and make sure everything, as a manager should, that the job is being done in a proper manner and more efficiently and effectively. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, well, we're going to move on to our closing statements then, and you'll have 3 minutes. Is it 3? we do have a little extra time, so we may you can bump that up to 4 and see what happens. Do you need more time for your closing? Stay with 3. We'll stay with 3 then. And let's see, it will be Ms. Cox will go first, and then Mr. Edwards, and then Ms. Beatty.
First off, I want to say it's a privilege to be here tonight. Again, if I'm elected as your court clerk, I will work side by side with each clerk so that the office runs more efficiently and in a more timely manner. In my experience working side by side with each employee, you tend to develop a family-like relationship with them. Therefore, they work harder for you. In return, you will work harder for them. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Edwards, you have 3 minutes.
Again, thank you for allowing me to be here, inviting us here to speak. I think this is good that people get to see us and see what we have to offer to bring. One thing I'd like to say is there's no I in teamwork. I think teamwork's very important inside the office and also inside the courthouse as a whole. I would be willing to work with all the other offices and jump in and help, do whatever they needed, and assist with different things. And like I said, training is very important, very vital. A lot of people may not realize, but the records and stuff that are maintained at the court clerk's office are very sensitive documents and should be cared for and secured in a very good manner, And as a court clerk, I would tell you that I would be a good steward of your documents and all the court records and in preparing everything that has to be prepared. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Ms. Beatty, you have 3 minutes for your closing statements.
I want to thank the Mix, Sequoia County Time, Jeff Mayo, Marley Abel, and People Inc. for sponsoring the forum. I had my notes, but I'm going to touch a little bit on some of the things that's been said. I feel like my office, there is no long lines that people wait in my office. We do have cross-training. Some people cannot be cross-trained because their jobs are so in detailed that they have to be dedicated to their one position. But we all work together to offer a good service. I have had more compliments on our office running as a smoothly oiled machine. I am proud of my employees and what they've done with me. My office is an open window, so I can watch all of my employees. I get up and offer my help when we are overstaffed. I'm not going to say that we don't have to wait some, but with COVID right now, we are allowing only X amount of people in the office at the times. When I made the choice to run for court clerk 13 years ago, I felt like I could bring leadership to this office, and I feel like that I have. I have served as your district court clerk for 11 and a half years. I've worked hard with the other county officials, past and present, to build a strong leadership for local county government. Since I've been in office, I've had to put my leadership on every day. In 2010, we were asked to take budget cuts. State legislator cut, or the administrative office of the courts cut my budget $150,000 in 2010. I made the best of a bad situation, and we made it through it. We took budget cuts on the county level, but we all worked together as county officers, and we made it through it. The leadership in my office has over 60 years combined experience to serve the citizens of Sequoia County. With an experienced court clerk, builds an efficient staff who loves to serve the public, everyone wins. I am asking for your vote on November the 3rd. I hope you will go to the polls and vote for the most qualified, experienced person, Vicki Beatty. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
I want to thank again all three of our candidates, and do want to point out, as Ms. Beatty said, while our primary election has early voting June 25th, 26th, and 27th, with Election Day June 30th, that will only feature Gina Cox and Shiloh Edwards on the Republican ballot, and then the winner will face Vicki, the Democrat, in November. We'll now take a commercial break and then come back with our sheriff's race. Thank you.
Sallisaw Lumber now offers a complete line of Guardian fiberglass insulation to lower your home or business's electric bill. Whether you want it blown in or batted, Sallisaw Lumber will professionally install Guardian fiberglass insulation for you. Remember, good results begin with a solid foundation, and that requires the right materials for the job. That's why the pros and do-it-yourselfers trust Sallisaw Lumber for selection and service.
The earth is our home. It's where we live. It's where our children play. And it's our responsibility to take care of it for future generations. Sue's Recycling and Sanitation is here to help keep our land beautiful. We provide residential and commercial trash service for Sequoia County. We also offer industrial waste services. Call 918-773-4007 to sign up today.
When it comes to electrical jobs, leave it to the professionals. Molinex Electric can handle your commercial, industrial, remodeling, and control needs. Give them a call at 479-651-4933. Molinex Electric, for all your electrical needs. Do you need a little help promoting your business? With over 100 years experience printing your community news, the Sequoia County Times is now offering high-caliber products that will fulfill your marketing needs. We will promote your business with thousands of great products through our Cookson Hills Marketing Division. We offer apparel, bags, banners, calendars, mugs, pens, sticky notes, tech gear, trade show swag. We can print your flyers, your postcards, pamphlets, and so much more. Visit chm.cookson.news or call us at 918-775-4933. 4433. Remember to promote with the pros.
Salisol Lumber now offers a complete line of Guardian fiberglass insulation to lower your home or business's electric bill. Whether you want it blown in or batted, Salisol Lumber will professionally install Guardian fiberglass insulation for you. Remember, good results begin with a solid foundation, and that requires the right materials for the job. That's why the pros and do-it-yourselfers trust Salisol Lumber for selection and service.
The earth is our home. It's where we live. It's where our children play. And it's our responsibility to take care of it for future generations. Sue's Recycling and Sanitation is here to help keep our land beautiful. We provide residential and commercial trash service for Sequoyah County. We also offer industrial waste services. Call 918-773-4007 to sign up today.
When it comes to electrical jobs, leave it to the professionals. Mullinax Electric can handle your commercial, industrial, remodeling, and control needs. Give them a call at 479-651-4933. Mullinax Electric. For all your electrical needs. Do you need a little help promoting your business? With over 100 years experience printing your community news, the Sequoyah County Times is now offering high-caliber products that will fulfill your marketing needs. We will promote your business with thousands of great products through our Cookson Hills Marketing Division. We offer apparel, bags, banners, calendars, mugs, pens, sticky notes, tech gear, trade show swag. We can print your flyers, your postcards, pamphlets, and so much more. Visit chm.cookson.news or call us at 918-775-4433. Remember to promote with the pros.
I want to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Mayo. I'm publisher of the Sequoyah County Times, and this forum is brought to you tonight by the Mix KXMX and Your Times. We want to thank People Inc. for allowing us to use our conference center, and we also want to say that because of social distancing, we've got a limited crowd as with to follow the People Inc. policy. Our moderator tonight is Marley Abel, Senior Vice President of First Financial in Sallisaw, and we appreciate Marley moderating so many of our forums over the years. Our candidates for Sequoyah County Sheriff are incumbent Larry Lane and challengers Eric Cope and Ron Lockhart. All three candidates are Republicans, so the winner of the primary election or the runoff election, if it takes one, will be elected our sheriff. There will not be a November election for your sheriff. This is it. We've drawn names for the order, and we'll start with Larry Lane and then Ron Lockhart and Eric Cope. They'll have 3 minutes for opening statements. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. We'll go ahead and get started with opening statements. And as Mr. Mayo said, Mr. Lane will start off. So you have 3 minutes for your opening statements.
Thank you all. First, I just want to say how proud I am of our deputies and our staff at the Sheriff's Office for their hard work and dedication to the department and the people of Sequoyah County over these last 3 years. They've done a great job. You know, the other night I was laying there kind of reflecting over the last 3.5 years and started making a list of the changes and improvements we've made at the Sheriff's Office. And it didn't take me long to realize that there were way too many to even talk about tonight. So I tried to narrow the list down and get as many as we can. You know, when I took over in 2017, I quickly realized that I had inherited the least trained and least equipped law enforcement agency I've ever been involved with in my life. It was embarrassing. One of the first things we did, I noticed that we're the only agency in the county that did not have body cameras. In the times we were in today with the scrutiny and the attacks on law enforcement, you got to have body cameras for the transparency, for the safety for the deputies, and for the safety of the public as well. So since then, we added body cameras. We've got body cameras for the deputies, for the jailers, for inspectors, or investigators. So every traffic stop, every call we go on, domestics, everything we deal with the public, we've got a recording of it. And like I said, nowadays you just absolutely have to have that addition. So that's been one of our biggest additions. One of the next things I noticed, we had the deputies were wearing ragged, wore out, and expired bulletproof vests. So we went and got a grant, and we got new bulletproof vests for the deputies. Then we're trying to get this department into the 21st century. We're also one of the other only agencies that did not have mobile computers in the patrol units. So we've added that. What that does is not only allows the deputies to run tags and wanted people from their cars, we can do the report. So if a deputy's enrolling, he can enter a report right there in the car, hit print, and it sends it to the sheriff's office. We don't have to drive all the way back to Sallisaw to get the report in the system. Gets them back on the road quicker and gets them to patrolling. One of my biggest accomplishments that I'm proud of is, when I took over, there's a 911 center, dispatch center across the street from the sheriff's office. We've got a dispatch center in the sheriff's office. So there's two dispatches across the street from each other. So if your daughter is at home by herself and she calls 911, she's getting broke into, you got to go through the 911 dispatcher, explain who you are, where you are, what you need, and then they have to transfer the call over to the sheriff's dispatch and then you go through the whole thing again. Myself, if it's my daughter, I want a deputy on the way. And now we've combined them, and we've got everybody in one room, and it's under 911, and it's saved us $4,500 a month, and it's more efficient. And you call 911, you get a deputy. So I guess my time's up. Thank you all.
Let's see. Mr. Lockhart, you have 3 minutes for your opening statement.
Well, I'm Ron Lockhart. I'm a lifelong resident of Sequoia County, 30 years law enforcement experience, 22 at Fort Smith, 8 years as your sheriff. And like Larry said, the 8 years that I was sheriff, I'm proud of what my deputies did. He can sit there and say that it was not modernized. He's lying, because we did bring everything up to 21st century. We had cameras. We had bulletproof vests. The 911 center, it's taken three weeks to get a call to Bradley Ford, so apparently it's not working too well. But like I said, I'm a past president of the Sheriff's Association, Oklahoma Sheriff's Association. I'm with the National Sheriff's Academy, first sheriff in Sequoia County. I was the second sheriff in Oklahoma that got the Oklahoma State University Sheriff's Certificate. So there's several things that we did to modernize the Sheriff's Department. If he wanted to see what it looked like when I took office, which he should have because he was there. I mean, we had vehicles 275,000 miles. I obtained grants to buy 10 vehicles for nothing. Basically, didn't cost the county anything. So to sit there and say that my deputies didn't have training, he's lying. You can pull up the records through CLEAT, and you can see how many hours that they had. So it just disturbs me for him to sit there and say that, just basically speaking the lies that we've done. The citizens of Sequoia County know what I did. But, he talks about stats. Let's see your stats. I've got my stats right here in the book. If you're going to sit there and lie to the people, provide them with the stats. But anyway, I would appreciate your vote on June 30th. I've saved the county money. He's costing about $250,000 more a year on 2 items than it cost me. So I appreciate your vote on June 30th.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lockhart. We'll move on to Mr. Cope, and you'll have 3 minutes for your opening statement.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for allowing us to be here tonight. My name is Eric Cope. I am a lifelong resident of Sequoia County as well. I'm 34 years old and married. I've got three boys, ranging 15, 13, 5 years old. I'm busy at work, busy at home. I'm running for Sequoia County Sheriff. I come from a family that has served people my whole life, from the armed forces, public school system, and lots of areas of law enforcement. I bring to the table a few things as far as fundamentally trying to change the sheriff's office from the ground up. I'm here asking for your vote this evening to start from the inside and work our way out. I have worked for the Sheriff's Department twice in my 14-year career. I have worked for both of these gentlemen here. I've seen what it's like from the inside. I've also seen what it's like from the outside. On June 30th, I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cope. We will move on to the first question now, and we will start the questions with Mr. Lockhart. And the first question, which is pretty standard, is why did you decide to run for the Sequoyah County Sheriff's?
Well, I've been in law enforcement, like I said, 30 years, 22 years at Fort Smith, 8 years as sheriff. 3 years ago, I didn't want to leave, so I've still got it in my blood. I can still do some good to this county. Like I said earlier, I've saved over $250,000 on just 2 items that he is overspending. The wasteful spending has got to stop. When I took office in 2009, I had a jail that basically went bankrupt. When they gave me the jail, it had $30,000 left in it. I was able to bring that back. Of course, we got a tax passed. I dropped my budget after 3 years to $200,000 a year, give the money back to the county, over $1 million. In less than 2 years, and going back, I left the current sheriff over $500,000 in the account. In 2 years, he spent that money, and he had to go back to the county and ask for $105,000 more dollars. I've never asked for a budget increase. Like I said, I left him $500,000 in those accounts. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you want a sheriff that will watch the taxpayers' monies, stop the wasteful spending, you need to elect me. If you don't, you need to keep Lane. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lockhart. And we'll now finish with Mr. Lane. It'll be the same question. What? Oh, no? Oh, Eric starts there. I'm sorry. Eric's next, sorry. So why did you decide to run for the Sequoyah County Sheriff?
I decided to run for the Sequoyah County Sheriff because basically I'm disappointed. I've dealt with the sheriff deputies myself personally. I see how they act towards people. I talk to people throughout my campaign. Their biggest complaint is, when they need to speak to the sheriff, they can't speak to the sheriff. That, to me, is disappointing because these people put you there. You need to be there when they need you. They come to the sheriff, they don't want to talk. They come to the sheriff's office, they don't want to talk to anybody but the man that's in charge. Don't put them on the back burner. I'm here to come in and make it feel at home for the people that this is home too. This is my home. This is their home. Everybody gets to have a say-so in what happens in their home. And they need to talk to the man in charge. The man in charge needs to be there and ready to listen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll finish the first question with Mr. Lane. Why did you decide to run for re-election for Sequoyah County Sheriff?
Well, back in 2010, if you'd have told me I was going to ever run for sheriff or for anything, I would have said, absolutely, you're crazy. I'm the farthest from a politician that you'll ever see. This is one of the hardest things for me, is getting up here and talking to people like this. But I love law enforcement. I've been in it almost 30 years now, and I was finally talked into running, and we got in here now, and the last 3 years we've accomplished more than I would have thought we ever could in 3 years, especially with the tragedies and the setbacks that we've had in this county. It's just been an epic 3 years. And the people have seen the amount of drug raids, the nonstop, relentless drug raids we've done, and we're going to keep doing that after I'm elected again, re-elected. And like I said, the drug raids are up. The arrests are more than twice than they ever were before under any sheriff, and crime is down, and that's what we're going to keep doing. Thank you.
Now move on to question 2, and it'll be Mr. Cope. We'll start this one off. What do you believe is the most significant factor in crime in Sequoyah County, whether it be poverty, drugs, or something else?
Well, I would say poverty is the biggest. When folks don't have the money to get the things they need, they resort to crime to go and take what they need. I don't believe that the foundation to crime in this county is based off of drugs. I know there's a lot of drugs that's involved with it, but I would say poverty is the base of the crime that starts. In the middle of the night, yeah, from my experience, I've spent most of my career on the night shift. That's when bad things happen the most. You go to sleep, you're the most vulnerable. People come around and they take what they can get their hands on. So, you know, they need that security, that sense of security when they go to sleep, knowing that their place has been taken care of. You know, they can depend on law enforcement to have a presence to try to deter that. People get desperate, and they'll tell you that. I've had people tell me that I've arrested. You know, I'm at the bottom of the barrel. I don't know what else to do. I've got to take care of my family. Poverty would be, to me, the foundation to what begins somebody to get a criminal record. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Lane, you'll be second on this question. What do you believe is the most significant factor in crime in Sequoyah County?
Well, it's absolutely drugs. I've been a narcotics agent for several years, most of my career, and every crime almost leads back to drugs. It doesn't matter if it's domestic violence, burglaries, everything else. All the drug raids we do, we recover stolen property. Most of the child assault and crimes like that, sexual assault crimes, are also related to drugs. So by keeping the pressure on the drug dealers, it lowers all the rest of the crime. So to me, in my view, it's absolutely narcotics.
Thank you. Mr. Lockhart?
Well, it's a mixture of both. I mean, if you didn't have poverty, you wouldn't have thefts, you wouldn't have drugs. You know, it's crying shame. Everybody out here has got a family member that's been on drugs. You know, you can arrest them, you can kick their doors in and arrest them, but you've got to have a foundation there to help them to get off drugs. We took pride in helping people get into drug court if they deserved it. But main thing is when I took office, I saw a pattern. They'd kick a door in, take their drugs and their guns and money, and then give them a deferred. 6 months later, they kick the door in again, do the same thing. I had more guns and evidence, but nobody going to prison. When I was the sheriff, you know, we concentrated on getting the supplier. You know, we arrested somebody. We didn't publicize their name because, you know, each family member here or listening has got somebody that's been on drugs. The last thing I wanted to do was embarrass the family, because that's what it does. Try to get them some help, and things will be better. I mean, get them back on the right track. But poverty and drugs go together. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Move on to the third question, and Mr. Lane, you'll be up first. Community policing is a term that's been around for at least 4 decades. The term seems to have made a comeback across the nations as communities are striving to find better ways to create more cooperation between citizens and officers. There are also hundreds of definitions of the term community policing. What does community policing mean to you, and do you think it's possible to achieve that goal in Sequoyah County?
Absolutely. For several years, I was the only patrol deputy. You know, back when I first started being a deputy, we worked 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. We didn't work shifts. So I was, from Dwight Mission Road to Gore, I was it. I was the only deputy. You'd go home, get a little bit of sleep, and get called back out in the middle of the night or the middle of the morning, whenever you could. But what I always did, driving, you know, when you're driving the county roads, if you see somebody outside, stop and talk to them, especially kids, young kids, get a relationship, get a rapport with them, get to know everybody in your patrol area. And that's what I try to instill in my deputies, get to know these people when you're out there driving the back roads. These deputies average 4,000 miles a month per car on the back roads and the roads in our counties. And it seems to have helped us a lot. Every deputy in his patrol area knows the families and knows the people in their district. So to me, that's community policing.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lockhart, you'll be next on that one.
Yeah, when I was sheriff, we had 4 deputies work day shift, 3 at night. They worked districts. I put them in districts. That way response time was quicker. That way they could meet who was in their area, stop and have a Coke with them, stop and talk with them. That was one of the things that I stressed when I was a sheriff. You know, community policing is more than just driving around on Interstate 40 looking for drug cartels. You know, we've got a bunch of drugs in this county, and if they'll get out on the county roads, you can find activity that's going on that's illegal. But the main thing is just I'm going to get them back out in the rural areas where they belong, cut the response time so they will know their people in their districts like I did before. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Cope, community policing has lots of definitions. What does community policing mean to you, and do you think that's an achievable goal in Sequoyah County?
I do think it is an achievable goal. I've worked at several departments here in Sequoyah County, Gore Police Department, Vine Police Department, Sequoyah County Sheriff's Office. Every place you go, you know, there's always somebody that, you know, they need to talk. You know, stop in the store, check on people working. Stop at somebody's house, see somebody sitting outside alone. Maybe they look down. I'll stop and talk to a gentleman sitting on the side of a dirt road one day over around Jackson Mountain area. They just sometimes need somebody to talk to. I do believe it's an achievable goal, and everybody does have a different definition of it. Me, myself, stop wherever you're at. You know, there's a lot of hatred going on toward law enforcement right now, but try to be the change. You know, make an effort. That's all it takes is making an effort, to me. Stop by the park. Kids outside playing basketball. Get out there and see if you can play with them. It's the person. Every one of us is different. Every one of us thinks differently, but I also believe that if it starts at the top, you know, sheriff, undersheriff, anybody that's driving around, they see these things going on, get out, stop, get out and talk to people, you know, play them a game of basketball, and be the change. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to see the 3 of y'all in a pickup game, 3-on-3. All right, question number 4. We will start with Mr. Lockhart. What do you feel is an effective body camera program should look like? Should the legislature mandate the cameras for the police departments, or should this be left up to individual departments and not state or federal government?
Well, I think you're going to see that the federal government is going to mandate it here before long. I had cameras also in some of the units, but one of the drawbacks that I had with it was, you know, you can buy a camera. Cameras are cheap for units, but is the mandates and keeping up with them. I mean, even in the jail, we had attorneys calling every day wanting videos of the jail. You've got to keep those, keep the everything for 7 years before you can destroy it. So I didn't see where we had the funds to purchase a big enough hard drive to keep all that stuff. And then you have to worry about getting sued if you can't provide it. And I see that in a lot of departments where the deputy or the officer will not be able to turn his camera on, so then it draws attention to that officer or that department because they don't have video. Are they hiding something? But the cost was what I looked at, is the cost as far as keeping the hard drive, keeping that video for 7 years. Because it's basically another deputy or another employee keeping up with the video. But it's going to be mandated by the federal government. We'll have to follow it. Thank you.
Thanks. Next up on this one will be Mr. Cope. What do you feel is an effective body camera program? Should the legislature mandate the cameras for police departments, or should this be left to individual departments?
I believe it should be left to individual departments. I do believe that all departments should have them, you know, because I've worked for departments that didn't have them. I've worked for departments that do have them. It's never hurt me either way, not having one or having one. But this day and age, it's expected. I don't think that the state or federal government should mandate it. I don't think that they should, because coming along with that, they're going to have to, you know, put out more grants to help, you know, like Ron said, with places to store the memory, the equipment, things like that. When you come to a smaller department, how can they afford that? There's all types of different body cams out there that you can get. Some of them are 2 inches long. Some of them are a big square that's right in the middle of your chest. Some of them you wear up here on your ear. Personally, I believe the ones that you wear up here on your head that sees everything that you see is the best one that you can have.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Lane? Should the legislature mandate the body cameras, or should this be left to individual departments?
Well, I also agree that it's probably going to be mandated by the government with the way things have changed. And as I said in my opening, that was one of my biggest additions, was adding body cameras to the department that we didn't have before. They've been a huge help to the department and to the deputies and to the citizens. Every time somebody calls in, complains about a traffic stop or their dealings with the deputy, we can bring them in, show them the body camera, and 99% of the time it's been exactly the opposite from what the complainant has said. So they've been a huge addition to us. We found a very cost-effective system for storage and memory, and we've got a policy now that's approved by the state, or our ACO attorneys on the retention of the body camera time. So the attorneys have to request those body cameras within a timely manner from us. But again, that was one of the biggest additions for our department, was adding the body cams.
Okay, thank you. We'll start now with question 5. This will be the only a 1-minute question. I don't think it'll take you long to answer this, and we'll start with Mr. Cope this time. Just as in the city police chief race, the most popular question that people around town have stopped and asked me is this: if national or state legislature or government decides to initiate a guns confiscation program, will you instruct your sheriff's deputies to abide by that mandate?
No, I will not. It's our constitutional right to keep and bear arms, and I will not myself or have my people violate someone's civil rights.
Okay, thank you. Next up on this question will be Mr. Lane. You can see why I shortened the response time on this one. If national or state government decides to initiate a gun confiscation program, will you direct your sheriff's deputies to abide by the mandate?
No, absolutely not. We took an oath when we took office to uphold the Constitution, and that's part of the Constitution. And I would never direct my deputies to take anyone's guns.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lockhart, same question.
Of course not. I mean, we're here we can bear arms, and I am in no way going to take any guns away.
All right. I tried to tell everybody that, and they wouldn't believe me. So I said, I'll ask them. All right, next question. We'll start with Mr. Lane this time. Just over 5% of the population of Oklahoma currently has a medical marijuana license, which accounted for about $400 million in sales in 2019. How has this new policy changed policing in Sequoyah County? And how would you respond to those who would like to make marijuana recreationally legal in Oklahoma as well?
Well, I don't know that it's changed how we carry out our daily jobs. You know, normally if we're on a traffic stop or even at a search warrant at a drug house, if somebody's got their marijuana card and they're within their legal limits, then of course we don't want to charge them for that. So it's not really changed how we respond and how we treat people any. As far as what was the second part of legalization?
The recreational, what would you say if somebody asked you about recreationally?
You know, there's good and bad with everything. That law, when they passed that law, there was a lot of really bad stuff in it. They made meth a misdemeanor, heroin, everything else a misdemeanor. So I'd like to see that one corrected. Those harder drugs shouldn't be a misdemeanor. As far as recreational marijuana, you know, if that's what the lawmakers, we don't make the laws, we just enforce them. If that's what the lawmakers choose, we'll abide by that. That's our job, you know.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lockhart, you'll be second on this one.
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. How has the new policy changed policing in Sequoyah County in terms of medical marijuana, and how would you respond to those who would like to make marijuana recreationally legal in Oklahoma, which I think is going to be on the ballot 2021, I believe?
Well, that law came into effect after I left, but I can't see where it's not affecting you. When you stop a car and they've got marijuana and search warrants, it's got to affect you because, you know, you gotta respect and honor the voters of the state of Oklahoma if you come in contact with somebody with drugs. I think they have even allowed, what, 6 marijuana plants to grow in their own house if they've got a medical marijuana. So I don't see how it's not affected law enforcement. I know we went on search warrants where they were cultivating marijuana, but now you got to make sure they don't have a marijuana license. But as far as the legalization of the other recreational, I mean, we'll just have to honor if Mark Allen votes that in, I guess we'll have to honor that. So, but whatever the state does, we'll have to honor that as far as law enforcement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cope, you'll be last on this one. How has medical marijuana changed the policing in Sequoyah County, and how would you respond if someone asked you about recreationally making marijuana legally?
As far as how's it changed or affected the way that law enforcement is carried out, I don't really think it's changed. As far as the people that do have their medical marijuana license, they are under the impression that they can smoke it, eat it, however they want to do it, and go drive. They can't do that. The DUI rate has raised since this has come into play. You know, you come across people that you can smell, and believe me, you can smell it before you even get to the car. They have a license, and they're within their legal amounts, and they're not under the influence at the moment. Have a nice day. As far as the recreational, my view on it is, you know, if somebody wants to, you know, roll a joint and smoke it and sit at home and not bother anybody, okay, that's good. You know, don't go break the law, don't go steal from anybody. But like these two said, if the law changes, it's the way we got to go.
All right, thank you. All right, next question we'll start with Mr. Lockhart this time. And I think you all slightly touched base on this on that last question, but with the change in penalties for the simple drug possession, how do we see that affecting policing in the community, and how do you see department policy changing in the future to be more effective? Since I think a couple of you mentioned since methamphetamines became a misdemeanor now.
A lot of the drugs have dropped down since I left. I mean, a lot of those laws have changed since I left. I mean, it's got to affect you as far as the stops. I mean, and the reason why they did that is for jail overcrowding, to release people from prison. And you know, I can see the reason why they did it. I don't agree with what they did, but it does affect not only law enforcement, it affects the citizens of Sequoyah County and the United States. But it does affect us, and you just got to live and learn while you're out here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cope, you'll be second on this one. With the change in penalties on simple drug possessions, how has that changed the way that the police are having to handle those situations?
It's changed because in most cases, it's just like a simple traffic ticket. Pull somebody over, they've got, you know, little bitty bag of meth, they get a ticket, drugs are confiscated, and they're sent on their way. I don't agree with it. I'm a firm believer if they've got it, they need to go to jail and feel, you know, same penalties as before. The smaller departments around here have changed or added city ordinances so that they can write tickets for it and get funds off of that, writing a city ticket for it. And when you get a city ticket like that, unless you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma City, or Lawton, it's not on record. You go to city court, pay your fine, you go home. What was the second part of that question?
How do you see this change affecting how the police department operates going forward?
Okay.
You kind of addressed that.
Yeah, basically the same. Write a ticket and send them on their way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lane, you'll be last on that question. Need to hear it again, or?
Yeah, give it to me.
With the change in penalties on simple drug possessions, how do you see that affecting policing in our community? And how do you see department policy changing in the future to make that more effective?
Well, it has changed how we have to deal with them. One thing is, before it was a felony, you could get them into the drug court process, get them on a little different probation system. When you just got misdemeanor charges on somebody, it's basically just a fine and let them go, and that doesn't help them get into a probation or a rehab type scenario. So in that sense, it's changed quite a bit. As far as our policy, we're basically handling it the same. If we catch them with meth, we're still taking them to jail and just charge them with misdemeanor possession of meth or heroin or whatever they've got if they're under the legal or the weight for trafficking. So we've not changed the policy for dealing with that at this time.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next question, we'll start with Mr. Cope. What do you currently see as the two most important needs to move the department forward?
The two most important,
if you were to win.
The two most important things are the sheriff's office needs to focus on the fact that the safety and security of the people of this county should always be number one priority. Number two, it's kind of a hard question because I have a few things, but
you got 2 minutes. So you can do more than two if you want to.
You need to have the ability to separate personal issues from clouding your professional judgment. If there's something that you see or someone you see that you don't like, your personal feelings have nothing to do with that. You still have a job to do, and you need to do it, and you need to handle it just the same as you will handle anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lane, you'll be next. If you were to get reelected, what do you foresee as your two most important things in your department that you're going to change or try to tweak going forward?
Well, the first thing, we're going to continue the relentless pursuit of the drug dealers and thieves. That's my motto, and that's what we're going to keep doing. What I'd love to see most of all is to get the deputies' pay raised up. They're basically the lowest paid department in this county. That would be my number one priority moving forward, would be to get them raised up to a little more respectable amount. If somebody comes in to apply for a job with me, and it's almost embarrassing to tell them what we pay when they can go across the street at Sallisaw and start out at almost $10,000 a year more than we pay. But our deputies are really happy. The morale is great. I've even told them about other jobs at other departments. Other chiefs and sheriffs have called me in surrounding areas and asked if I had any deputies interested. I try to help them better themselves if they want to, and most of the time they tell me no, they're happy where they're at. We did just have one investigator get hired by OSBI, and he's right here close in a neighboring county, so we lost him, but we kind of didn't. So I would say raises would be the number one objective.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Lockhart, what do you see as the two most important needs within the department if you were to win the election?
Well, out here campaigning, it's the wasteful spending. You know, when the sheriff spends $250,000 more a year on just 2 items, he could give his deputies a big raise. That's one of the main things. The other thing that they're telling me is the patrols in the rural areas. You know, I've had people tell me they ain't seen a deputy in 2 years since I left office. Interstate 40. You know, I've got a question to ask the citizens. Do you want to see your deputies on I-40, or do you want them sitting in the county protecting your property? I think the answer is going to be patrolled in the county, rural areas. So there's several things that's very important to me. The building check program, where I check fire departments, businesses, churches, that program stopped. I had deputies working districts, 3 at night, 4 at daytime. That stopped. I had the inmate road crew. I was at Maple Cemetery just the other day asking if the inmates had been up there, and they said no, they received a letter that they can't take inmates to the cemetery because the attorney told them not to, or insurance or whatever. So there's several things that needs to change. You know, I started all these programs, and they're going to go back. We're going to have deputies in the rural areas again. We're going to have inmates cleaning cemeteries again. But there's several things that needs to be changed, and we're going to do that when I get reelected. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go to the last question, and then we'll have closing statements. Last question, we'll start with Mr. Lane. Since all of you have had the opportunity to work within law enforcement within Sequoyah County, give us something positive that you can say about your opponents.
About both of them?
Sure.
Okay. Well, you know, Eric, man, I've known him since he was a little kid. It absolutely, I've watched him grow up. I was proud to have him as one of my deputies. I miss him. He was a very good friend of mine, and I don't hold anything against him for running against me. That's everybody's right. You know, that's our right as a citizen. He's a good person. Ron, he made some good improvements. There's no doubt about it. And I didn't ever work for him, but I worked alongside him when I was the drug task force agent for the district, and we did a lot of good things back there in those first couple of years. So again, you know, he expanded, like say the inmate work program. He expanded it. It was part-time then. Now it's full-time. So I took it another step. We clean up the roads, clean up the highways, and those inmates pick up trailer loads of trash from one end of the county to the other. So there was several things that both of them's done to affect my life, and I appreciate them both.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lockhart, you'll be second on this one.
Well, Eric worked for me. I think I got him complete certified, did I not? Whenever you were in the jail, and he worked for me for a short period of time. Then he moved on. Always respected Eric, liked Eric, hard worker. Larry, I mean, like he said, we worked together on some cases. You know, I offered him a job whenever I became sheriff. He wanted to move on to Cherokee County, I think, and work where you went to. Larry's a good investigator. I will have to put it, he is a good investigator. And when I get elected sheriff, I'll even put you as an investigator if you want to. But anyway, no, Larry, I've known Larry's dad more than I knew Larry, or I guess it was your grandpa, wasn't it? He worked for my Uncle Sam when he was sheriff, and I think Larry even worked for Sam also. But, you know, I'm a little older than him and was at Fort Smith 22 years while he was over here, so didn't have many cases. I worked with him over here, but we did run across each other. And, you know, I got to apologize to you earlier because I got a little upset because you were saying we didn't do anything the first 8 years, which, you know, we did do a lot of things. I mean, that's all I've been told for the last 3 years, and I get a little upset when they say I don't do anything. But anyway, we'll get by this. You know, everybody's got a right to run for office, and he run against me, and so now I'm running against him. So anyway, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Cope. You've all had the opportunity to work together kind of in some form or fashion. Give us something positive you can say about Ron and Larry.
Well, like Larry did say, he's known me since I was a kid. He's known me through the times I went through school, times I screwed up. He's caught me a few times. One thing about it is, he's always treated me good. I've never heard him say a bad thing about me. When I did work for him, he was great. He is the absolute best drug investigator I've ever seen in my life. I've worked with a lot of people. He definitely, give credit where credit's due, for sure. Ron, I worked for Ron early on in my career, starting off. The one thing I can say about Ron is I never had to worry about where I stood, because he always would let me know. You never had to wonder. He'd tell you straight up. And that's what I really like that quality in him. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That went really well. Now that we're all warm and fuzzy, we're going to end this with your 3 minutes of a closing. Then we're all going to go out and grab a burger or something. And the closing, we're going to start with Mr. Lockhart, and then Mr. Cope, and then Mr. Lane. You'll have 3 minutes for the closing.
Well, like I said, there were several programs that I started as sheriff. I say the whole department did. And again, I'd like to apologize to Sheriff Lane, because I get a little upset when they say I don't do anything. We didn't do anything those 8 years. When we did, we worked our tails off. But there's several programs that I started, like I mentioned, the inmate road crew, the building check program, patrolling the rural areas, and saving money. Just like Vicki Beatty said earlier, when I took office, we had a jail that was broke. I had $30,000, so Tulsa County helped me bring it back over the 6 months after that. Of course, we had the jail tax. I seen that there was more money there than we was needing. So I didn't just hog the money. I basically give $250,000 or $200,000 back every year for 5 years, drop my budget. I helped buy the agent's funeral home with the other officers. So we were always there to help each other, because you got to work together to accomplish the same goal, because it's all county money. You've got to watch the wasteful spending. You've got to use your head whenever you're ordering stuff. Do not contract with companies that basically is going to get to you. We've got to make sure there's a program. Jamie Falkenberry was probably one of the best jailer administrators that we had. I think she's gone now. But whenever you bring an inmate into the jail, just because they're an inmate, they've got insurance, you can use it. And that's what the problem was back when I took office in 2009 and took the jail over in 2010. They wasn't utilizing the state laws or state ordinances that you could follow with an inmate. You basically bring an inmate in, you see if they have an Indian card, they have Obamacare, they have any kind of insurance, you put that on your notes. If that inmate gets sick, you're not responsible for any kind of medical bill if it's pre-existing. So we basically made money in the jail on inmate medical, because we were able to track if they had insurance. Just the other day, one of the county commissioners was telling me that they had to go negotiate a $30,000 bill at the hospital for the jail. There's no sense in that. You've got to make sure that whoever you got working in that jail follows the state law. You get their insurance. If they got an Indian card, take them out there and get medicine. There's no reason not to do that. But anyway, I would appreciate your vote on June 30th. And again, I'd like to apologize for Larry, because I got a little upset when I first started. But, we worked hard 8 years. We're proud of what we've done. And I want to continue it the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cope, you'll be next.
Again, I want to thank everybody for giving us the time to do this. Everybody listening at home, Law enforcement's my passion. It always has been. Like I said during the opening statement, I came from a family that has done nothing but serve from the time that I've come onto this earth. Lots of family members retired from the school systems. Lots of family members still working in the school systems. I got law enforcement in each corner, pretty much each corner of law enforcement I've got family members in. I believe that the sheriff's office should always have the citizens as their number one priority. I'm not going to stand here and I'm not going to take any shots at either one of these men. These men have had a hard job. I haven't been in that position yet, but I plan to be. I understand the job can be a hard thing to do. But I want everybody to know that the law will be enforced on everyone the same. No special treatment. I believe that the law applies to everybody, even me. So I want to leave you with what I wrote. That's basically is my campaign ad. There's an old saying, it's not what you know, but who you know. The saying applies to Sequoyah County's way of law enforcement these days. In other words, selective enforcement is the current preference. I'm a firm believer that the law applies to everyone. As a law enforcement officer, you can't pick and choose who you enforce the law upon. Every person and case should be handled with the same level of integrity, professionalism, and respect. The office of sheriff is an elected position by the people of Sequoyah County, and it should be operated with the best interest of the people in mind at all times. My name is Eric Cope. I'm a candidate for Sequoyah County Sheriff. This is my blueprint of how the sheriff's office will operate if I am elected sheriff. I will be active and involved with the people of the county. I will always have time to meet with you and value your input. I humbly ask you to give me the chance to empty the back burner that has been excessively filled for too long. Vote Eric Cope on June 30th, and let's bring the sheriff's office back to working for the people. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Lane, you'll have 3 minutes.
Well, first off, I want to thank my family, especially my wife and best friend, Linda. She's stood by me, and I know these campaigns are hard on our families, especially our spouses. They get pretty upset, but we're almost to the finish line now. So I want to thank Senator Mark Allen and former State Rep John Bennett for being here with me tonight. As most of you know, I've had a lot of personal struggles to deal with. I want to thank our work family and our community that lifted me up and helped me through these hard times these last few years. You know, we're almost to the end of the night. I don't know why we had so many more questions than the court clerk. I did notice that. When y'all go to the polls on June 30th, I want you to ask yourself, do you want a politician or do you want a sheriff? If you want a sheriff that's going to continue to keep the relentless pursuit of the drug dealers and thieves, then vote for me on June 30th. Keep Larry Lane for your sheriff. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask one more quick question while Jeff's walking up there. If money wasn't an object, what's one thing you'd buy for the sheriff's department right now? Yeah. What was that? Raises. What do you think, Ron?
Well, I mean, of course, they all need more money, but I don't know what the needs are until I get there.
Okay. You got any ideas?
I would say raises myself because I was one of those guys.
All right. So if you want that stuff, just like I said last Monday night, you've got to get out and complete that census so we can get some money.
Yeah. Nice lead up. Census.gov. We want to thank the candidates for being here tonight for both the court clerk's position as well as the county sheriff. And again, a big thanks to People Inc. for allowing us to use their facility. And the reason why we had 9 questions is because we couldn't think of 11. All right. But again, if you want to vote and you're a Republican, you have the opportunity to choose one of these 3 people. If you're a Democrat or independent, talk to your Republican friends and try to lobby them to pick one of these 3 guys. It's like the reverse of 1980. So anyway, again, the primary election voting, early voting is June 25th, 26th, and 27th, and election day voting is June 30th. Thank you. Have a good night.
Salisol Lumber now offers a complete line of Guardian fiberglass insulation to lower your home or business's electric bill. Whether you want it blown in or batted, Salisol Lumber will professionally install Guardian fiberglass insulation for you. Remember, good results begin with a solid foundation, and that requires the right materials for the job. That's why the pros and do-it-yourselfers trust Salisol Lumber for selection and service.
The earth is our home. It's where we live. It's where our children play. And it's our responsibility to take care of it for future generations. Sue's Recycling and Sanitation is here to help keep our land beautiful. We provide residential and commercial trash service for Sequoyah County. We also offer industrial waste services. Call 918-773-4007 to sign up today.
When it comes to electrical jobs, leave it to the professionals. Mullinax Electric can handle your commercial, industrial, remodeling, and control needs. Give them a call at 479-651-4933. Mullinax Electric. For all your electrical needs. Do you need a little help promoting your business? With over 100 years experience printing your community news, the Sequoyah County Times is now offering high-caliber products that will fulfill your marketing needs. We will promote your business with thousands of great products through our Cookson Hills Marketing Division. We offer apparel, bags, banners, calendars, mugs, pens, sticky notes, tech gear, trade show swag. We can print your flyers, your postcards, pamphlets, and so much more. Visit chm.cookson.news or call us at 918-775-4433. Remember to promote with the pros.